Well, Bob Moses is going to present at ASH. He uses the learning of math in largely urban communities as a community organizing device to get people engaged in school. So I think of his work as one of the best examples of engaged scholarship because he's using his expertise in both teaching and learning and also community organizing, and his outcome is phenomenal because he, through learning math, is able to increase persistence of people through school, is able to affect social mobility, gets families involved, makes it a public issue. He's a really famous example of that, I would say.
That is a really robust example, primarily because, and I think as an educational sociologist, it changes the conversation about what's possible in these communities. And so, the learning achievements, that's all fine, but, it pushes back against that idea that, but they can't do it in that community, right? It's not possible. If we wind back to the beginning of the day, I felt really positive about, challenging the participants to, play out, how they experience promotion and tenure on their campuses. And I thought it was very interesting. It didn't take much to, get words out like, troubled and, frustrated and, irrelevant and a whole suite of issues that signal the anxieties of promotion and tenure, aside from public engaged scholarship, even though we know that's how they're thinking and working, but just the whole enterprise.
I'm very interested in academic reward systems because I think that they could be better representations of institutional identity and ways in which organizations can be able to more effectively accomplish their goals, but most often they're not. And currently, academic reward systems are dusty, and they were more often created in ways that can be exclusionary and do not include the diversity of individuals that are in academe right now. And there's a variety of ways in which they need to change. One of them is community engaged scholarship. Another one is technology. Another one is to acknowledge academic parents and work-life balance kinds of issues with Stop the Clock. There are ways in which our new non-tenure track folks need to be recognized as well as adjuncts so that they have the same voice in shared governance. And they need to better regard faculty and not be something that creates this anxiety, but really is a way to regard their work, to propel them forward, to recognize them, and make them feel ideally that they're part of a place that's investing in them, and then they invest in the place. And I very much believe that it's a reciprocal kind of contract and relationship. So I'm very interested in ways in which, both through my writing, but also through visiting individual campuses and workshops like this, I can help design third spaces, but design policies, design faculty development programs, design new ways that academic affairs units can create better systems for investing in people's professional growth, investing in them, and then they invest back, and the institution becomes distinctive for who it wants to be.
One of the things that we've done just recently over the past year and a half at Penn is to begin to form these what are called faculty seminars. And Penn has this old tradition of faculty members just kind of getting together impromptu ways over periods of time in groups around issues that they care about. And we decided to use that kind of tradition, that we had, part of the culture, to spur dialogues around civic engagement. So what we did is we began drawing people together around particular kinds of issues. So there's a group that's meeting that's talking about issues of urban environment that draws from across, these are faculty members from across the campus who are doing different work in that area. There's another group that's dealing with nutrition that again draws people from the social sciences, from nursing, from medicine. There's another group that's just trying to draw together the various people who are doing research and work at University City High School in Philadelphia. And what's interesting is you pull together people into meetings like that, and people are like, I didn't know you were there, and what are you doing there? And sort of, you know, people don't know. They're in the same site and they have no idea. So it's finding those mechanisms to begin to draw people together.
Most of us at some point, if not frequently, at frequent points, are going to be reviewed. How do we actually document this work? Because it's not as easy as the traditional pubs that go on your Vita under peer-reviewed publications, and they're there and people can maybe find them and maybe not. The challenges in the peer review is that the reviewers often don't understand the scholarship that we're doing. We do, but they don't. There are misperceptions of the rigor, and there's a lot of questions of impact. Writing the narrative for a personnel review, which is a first-person narrative and usually does not have citations, is for most academics one of the most difficult things they've ever done. We never write in the first person. We always rely upon the literature. We ground everything in a reference, and we don't actually tell our story. So learning how to write a narrative, learning how to coach people to write a narrative is a really important part of this, because telling the story of engaged scholarship is huge. Thinking about, with a lot of community engaged scholarship, one could ultimately create multiple products ranging from the very academic to the very non-academic. Are you presenting something at your disciplinary meeting? Are you possibly publishing in your disciplinary journal? But are you also thinking about how you're teaching it and putting something into one of the teaching and learning journals? Are you presenting at a community venue? Have you done a poster with a community partner? Is stuff on a website? Has some of the material been used in a brochure or on your agency, your community partner agency's website? Where are all the different places that this material is being shared and disseminated? So showing that this work has been used, and it builds on partnerships.
The peer review process for CES4Health.info builds upon the criteria that were established first by Boyer and then elaborated by Glassick. And so you can find the criteria on the website. They speak to a clearly articulated goal, appropriate background, methodological rigor, appropriate methods and significance of findings, but it also speaks to impact on the community, to reflective critique, and to the ethical behavior of the researcher, which is often a challenge in community-engaged scholarship. So those criteria are very much like criteria you would see elsewhere. They are, in fact, the criteria that we accept as the criteria for good community-engaged scholarship.